Hey guys, Bloodsorrow here, aka Ravedge, and today's vid is going to be the second of my Intro to Feral PvP guide series. In this vid, I'm going to be covering the glyphs, gears, stats, and gemming for Feral Druid PvP. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the vid! Alright guys, now as stated at the beginning of this vid, I'm going to go ahead and be covering the glyphs, gear, stats, and gemming. First thing I'm going to be talking about is the glyphs. Glyphs for Feral Druid are pretty straightforward, but there are like 1 to 2 that you might switch in, just like for every build, like situational uses. And I'm gonna go ahead and cover ones I feel that are crucial and ones that you would want to switch out, or possibly switch out, I should say. Okay, first one, the majors, is Glyph of Barkskin. Glyph of Barkskin reduces the chance you'll be critically hit by 25% while Barkskin is active. Barkskin is already a pretty good peel for us, you know. Reduces our damage taken and all that, but also then reducing your chance to be crit is really good. It's not as good as a Hunter's Roar Sacrifice because you're guaranteed not to be crit, but with this, it just makes it that much more tankier. Especially like Ferals, is like beefy as they are susceptible to being just nuked real fast. But if you don't kill me, I can pop defensives and live then through you finishing it off. So then me being able to have Glyph of Barkskin on mages with deep freezes and whatnot, you could use Barkskin while in stealth, but also having the 25% reduced chance to be crit is really good. So Glyph of Barkskin is one that you're for sure going to want to be using. The next one is Glyph of Cat Form. Increases healing done to you by 20% while in cat form. Now some people might say, oh, what if I'm running double DPS 2s or whatnot? You will be surprised how much you end up healing yourself in cat form, especially with Predatory Swiftness heals. Predatory Swiftness is instant cast heals that don't require you to come out of form. Meaning, when I heal, like here, I'll go ahead and show what I'm talking necessarily with that. Okay, so I got 5 combo points, Predatory Swiftness, then Healing Touch myself. It crit 160k with no other buffs. No other, Heart of the Wild or anything like that. So the extra 20% does have a big effect on that. Plus, if you put a Rejuve on yourself and then go back in cat form as you're running, it's going to heal for more. It just went up an extra 3k hot on each part, or each tick is doing 3k more compared to me being out form. See, 13k, and then 13.8. And that's how, so, hot 6 are, and it's not just you, it's other healers as well. BGs, people will heal you sometimes, and then, it's too good to pass up, honestly. 20% is a lot. The next glyph, this is where you can switch it out, is Glyph of Savagery. This allows you to be using Savage Roar at 0 seconds, and it will give you a 12-second buff compared to where you would normally require combo points no matter what. The reason I like this glyph a lot is because I like being able to put up Savage Roar while in stealth, so when I do an opener, I'm doing extra damage. Like, I can go ahead and, with this buff, get off a full combo points with Savage Roar and Tiger's Fury, and would you look at that, I have enough combo points again to put up a full Savage Roar before that one ends. So if you're really good at syncing your damage and paying attention to your buffs and, your debuffs on the target, you'll be able to just use this glyph to your advantage all that much more. However, this might not be the glyph you want to use in certain situations. Glyph of Skull Bash is nothing to be overlooked. What this does is increases the duration of your Skull Bash interrupt by 4 seconds, but increases the cooldown by 10 seconds. This is something I often use against Wizard Glyphs and whatnot. Like certain schools, if I lock them out in it for 8 seconds, because 8 seconds is the max lockout in PvP, you will be able to just destroy them. I've locked out a mage at 80% with a Frost Bomb, and he died because he couldn't ice block. Like, you're in trouble once that happens. Now, real quick, as you can see, Skull Bash is 1300 range, and its cooldown is 15 seconds. So, that's what it looks like that, but then also, if I switch that over, can't while I'm in combat. There you go. Now, if you look, the cooldown is 25 seconds. But it will lock them out of a school for 10 seconds, it says, but it's only 8 seconds of PvP. But still, an 8-second lockout is nothing to be overlooked. You lock out a healer or any DPS, especially with Wizard Glyphs that require them to be casting, you're going to really mess their day up, honestly. So that will be something you switch around. For just running around PvP, questing and everything, Glyph of Savagery is really good because it's so easy to keep up your Savage Roar then, because it is a huge buff that we need to keep up at all times. So that's the major glyphs. As in minor, are like nothing important really. The only thing that I think I like the most about them is there's just certain changes. This is the only one I highly suggest you get. Increases your swim speed by 50% while in aquatic form. The reason I highly recommend this one is because people who have BG'd on with me on my feral, I will, in Twin Peaks, run the flag all day. Because as I go in to get the flag, I then run right down in the water, go in orca form, and I'm gone. I move so fast, it's so hard. You can't catch me. It's like I'm mounted up. Especially when I use in orca form my wild charge. Because Wild Charge, if in Orca form, will increases my move speed by 150% for 5 seconds. So you have 150% plus the 50% from the glyph. You are just moving. Like, they're not going to be able to catch you. And I was laughing because I was gone. I was in midfield before they even knew that where I was going with the flag. So that's one that I highly recommend. Other than that, I like Glyph of Cheetah because I don't like being the stag. Like, it's kind of annoying. But plus, I played vanilla a while. I liked the cheetah back then and everything, so it's kind of cool for me. The other one I'm using is Glyph Orca, so I show up as Orca, not the like walrus thing. You know, just it's kind of like vanity stuff, nothing really important, but just some little fun. So, real quick, once again with glyphs, important ones: Bark Skin, Cat Form, Savage Roar, which could also be switched out for Glyph of Skull Bash. Know when do you want to use it and why you want to use it. So that's covering the glyph section, guys. I will see you in the gear, stats, and gemming part right after this. See you there. Alright guys, now as the gear, stats, and gemming, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the gear first, your stats, then the gems, and like the reforging will kind of be thrown in there at the same time as well. So right off the bat, as in gear, the main set pieces you're going to be going for are Dragon Hide. You want to look for the word Dragon Hide when you're buying your gear, and you know, it's the one with agility, gives you all the good stuff, and we have some pretty good set bonuses. For starters, movement speed is increased by 15% while in barrier form, cat form, or travel form. Only active outdoors, the speed is increased, non-cumulative with feline swiftness. Now, as you see, excuse me, as in PvP, you don't want to use feline swiftness as a feral because it doesn't stack, so there's no point to it really. That's why Wild Charge is really king. And then also that's why I said maybe this might be a resto PvE type talent. I wouldn't really see much use of it for PvP. Okay, so that's the 2-piece set bonus. And then the 4-piece one, which is kind of cool. Once every 30 seconds, your next Ravedge is free, has no positional or stealth requirement. Additionally, when you successfully interrupt with Skull Bash, the cooldown of your Enrage is reset. That's meant for Guardian Druids. But mainly, as you saw there, I get a free Ravedge. So if I was going cat form right now, as you see, it's glowing. It's letting me know, hey, I can do this for free, and it's going to do a lot of damage. Like, no energy cost, no position, no stealth. So pay attention and use that pretty much on cooldown when you're damaging. It's DPS increase. The next pieces I'm going to talk about are, like, off pieces, and then I'm going to talk about trinkets because that's something that can be often talked about or have a billion and one questions. As an off pieces, you want to be going for stuff that has mastery and crit. Those are the stats you want to stack as a feral. You want mastery and crit on every piece. So if you have mastery on one piece, you need to reforge the other part towards crit, and vice versa. So if you have crit and haste, reforge haste to mastery, etc. So that's going to be the stand priority. I guess I'll talk about that first. For a feral is 3% hit chance. We don't really need like any expertise because, you know, Ravedge is behind targets. A lot of our damage is behind targets. So 3% hit, then mastery / crit. Like, that's when you could switch out. Some people would rather have more crit than mastery. Some would rather have more mastery than crit, kind of like a Windwalker Monk. I like to have more mastery and then crit. Mastery, crit, haste, and then expertise. That's like the order of the importance of stats. So, as you can see right here, I had Mastery Haste on this, and I reforged to Crit from Haste. My cape, I have the Gladiator's Cape of Prowess. Both of these are of Prowess. Prowess is going to be your agility ones with Mastery on them. And then you reforge the stat you're missing towards Crit, or Mastery, depending on which. Bracers, I've got Accuracy Bracers because it has Hit and Crit, and then I reforge the Hit to Mastery. My belt, I have Cruelty, and then It's already got crit and mastery, so that's perfect for us right there. And then our boots, same thing, crit and mastery. As in rings, we have, you know, they're pretty straightforward. You have to get the Ring of Accuracy and the Ring of Cruelty, and then once again, reforge the missing stat, so mastery from haste, and crit from hit. That's covering the actual, like, for the off pieces. On made pieces, as in reforging, you're going to be doing, once again, the stat you're missing. So this had crit and haste, so I'm going to reforge haste to mastery, you know, hit to mastery. This has got crit and mastery on it, so it's good. Mastery from expertise, because this doesn't have crit on it, but I put as a higher priority for me as having mastery over crit. You might want for your playstyle, you might want to do crit instead of mastery, etc. Doesn't really matter. It's whatever your playstyle. As in helm, this had mastery, so I reforged expertise to crit. And then my weapon is crit mastery, so I left that alone. As in the, if you are, you know, if you need, well, no, you're going to be, because there's no human druids, but you're going to want the Medallion of Tenacity. It's just a lot of mastery, and mastery is really, really good for ferals. Our mastery increases our bleed damage by 64%. Well, mine, with my mastery, 64%. That's a lot of damage increase. You'll have Rake, Rip, all those moves critting really hard in arenas and BGs, where you're going to want that extra damage at all times. So, mastery is awesome for us. Now, as I stated at the beginning of this little section, that trinkets is something I was going to talk about. As in trinkets, I am using the PvE trinket, the Vicious Talisman of the Shadowpan Assault. And this comes from, it costs 1750 Valor points, and then I've upgraded 2 for 2 for, I think, 500 more Valor points. So 2250 Valor points to have this amazing trinket. Number one, it's a 530 item level. And before all of you say it, I know the item level gets dropped down to an arena. However, having a 2 for 2 upgraded makes the buff number 1 last longer, and you still get a little bit more stats. So the people that only have the tier 1 of this trinket, and you have 2 out of 2, you have a better trinket than they do. So you do want to upgrade it if you go this route. The reason I love this trinket is because, as you can see, it says 9483 agility for 20 seconds. It doesn't go, because of the simple fact it gets knocked down to 496. It's like 6,800 agility, I believe, and it lasts for 30 to 40 seconds. No, 40 seconds, I'm sorry. It lasts 40 seconds in PvP. That's crazy long for that much agility increase. I cannot see anything being better than it, and I see a lot of top-end ferals using it, and I do love using this. It's got a ton of damage output. Not to mention, it has a lot of hit on it, which, you know, we only need 3% for PvP, so I am over hit cap, but I was able to reforge 632 extra mastery from this trinket. So this is something you may want to use. You could also easily use if getting Valor points is not your thing. You could use the on proc trinket, the one that gives agility, or the unused one. Either one are both very good. If you are using the unused one, it's recommended that you would have it macroed with your Berserk or your big damage cooldown, so you're doing the extra, you know, damage at that point. However, for me, a lot of times, like, I might kill someone with my cooldowns, but a lot of the other times, just having this proc up will really improve my damage, and it's up pretty much as soon as it's off the internal cooldown, it procs. So this is a trinket I highly recommend. Get it, try it, tell me what you think about it, and if you have any comments about trinkets or something that you think I should try getting, comment below and let me know. So that's covering the actual trinkets part, well, the gear I should say, and I went ahead and already covered the stat priority and reforging. So now, only thing that's left is the actual gemming. Now, gemming, I'm just going to cover the colors because I'm doing, you know, every red gem's going to have this, every blue gem's going to have this, yellow, and then meta. So I'll start with the helm because, you know, oh, what? Come on. Oh, there it is. I was hitting caps lock. Whoops. Okay. For meta, you're going to want the Agile Primal Diamond, 260 agility and 3% increased critical effect. So your bleeds, when they crit, they do harder, especially Ravedge and stuff like that hits really hard already. You're going to want that extra bit. For red, I'm running 160 agility because agility is amazing for ferals. It gives you more crit and more attack power. Like my attack power right now is 31,654. My crit chance is 36.5%. You know, in cat form, of course. So that's a lot. That's a lot of really high stats. As in yellow, I run Adept Vermilion Onyx, and this gives you 80 agility and 160 mastery. So agility is kind of giving me the crit. Some people might say go ahead and try 80 agility and 160 crit, but I love mastery. I love it. Too good for me to pass up. I love having mine. I want to get that even higher. Like if you have a mastery buff like from a Reddit in, this I've seen it upwards of 70-some%, 75, 76% easily. So that's what I'm using in the yellow. As in blue, I'm using the Assassin's Imperial Amethyst. Now, this was also what was used on my monk, and this was something I was often talking about. PvP power is not a stat you just want to stack anymore from like gemming because of the simple fact that they've nerfed it. However, I don't really see gaining 120 stamina that good compared to gaining some extra damage and healing from PvP power. So this might be something I might switch out. You could have 80 agility and 120 stamina thing. I think you'd be just fine either way. So as in blue, I'm running 80 agility, 100, or 80 agility, 80 PvP power, or 80 agility and 120 stamina. Red, 160 agility, and then yellow, 80 agility and 160 mastery. Now, that's covering as in the actual gemming. You know, some of you might want to mess around with certain stuff, but I like having the mastery part, once again, so that's why I go for with that. Now, as in enchanting, it's pretty straightforward. Since I like mastery, I'm going to enchant my gloves with mastery. Leggings, 285 agility, 165 crit. You know, just get the leg pattern off the auction house, or if you're lucky like me with a leather worker, it's pretty much for free. As in boots, 140 agility and minor speed is really good. I don't know if this is considered that much more expensive on certain servers. Pandaren stuff might be a little bit cheaper, which is movement speed and mastery, so that's still a good one to have, but you know, you want as much agility as possible for the most damage output. As in weapon, you're going to want Dancing Steel. Like, being disarmed is no big deal for a Feral. It really isn't. It does kind of nerf your damage a little bit, but not insanely that much. So I would rather have the proc for an insane amount of agility increase. As Embracers, I have mine enchanted with 500 agility from being a leather worker, which is just amazing. You would want to go for agility on your bracers if you're not a leather worker, though. As in chest, I've seen some people go resilience, some people go 80 all stats. With the resilience change, I don't really see a point of getting a 200 resilience enchant to your chest when 80 agility is nothing to be overlooked. That's 80 agility, 80 stam, 80 intellect, you know, it's stats. It's not a bad thing. As in cloak, I just enchant mine with crit because, you know, crit mastery, those are the two stats we want to stack. Shoulder enchant, you just get, I believe it's of the tiger, you know, 200 agility, 100 critical strike, and that's off the auction house as well, or if you're an inscriptionist, you can make it. And then, yeah, that's all the enchants, guys. So, I know this is kind of fast, but if you felt I may have missed something or you want some more information or clarification on, please comment below and let me know. But at this point, I'm going to cut it off here, and I'll see you in the end part of the video. Alright guys, now that's going to wrap up this vid. Real quick before I let you go, just a couple of things. First, if you felt I may have missed something here or you have some questions, please be active, be loud, I want to hear it. Comment, let me know, or message me on either, you know, YouTube direct message or Twitter or in-game. I'm down to respond to anything, and we'll try and have you guys understand. I know there's a lot of information. Ferals have a lot of spells and a lot of binds, and certain things can, it's one of those classes where you could do one way or another. It depends on playstyle mainly, but I will try and help it get figured out for you guys. Secondly, if you haven't already, follow the Twitter page. That's where I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff on, like, updates when vids are coming out, streams, stuff like that. It's an easy way to also ask me questions. You know, hashtag me or comment and let me know if there's any questions you may have. So there's the second part of that. Oh, the third part is the third part of the series will be coming out in a day or two, so you can be on the lookout for that, and that'll be covering offensive gameplay, like spell priority, how to use them, etc. You know, the offensive play breakdown. So you can be looking for that one in about a day or two from this vid. And yeah, that's gonna wrap it up here. As always, if you did like what you saw, please like, favorite, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And this is Bloodsorrow, aka Ravedge, saying thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the BGs.